I reach for my baton, I take it out and I rack it. My colleague does the same. He's behind me, I don't see it, but I can hear it. Once you hear the sound of a bat being racked, you know what it is. I take a deep breath and I charge the first one. As soon as I get near him, I swing at him. Everything I've got, like all my strength behind it. I'm trying to take him out in one go. I aim straight for his head in that kind of horizontal motion. He sees me at the last second and he puts his arms up, but I still catch him. Not full effect, but I still hurt him. I heard him. I clearly heard him yelp in pain, and I send him back at least a good meter. I'm standing over the guy on the floor that was being attacked. About half a second, maybe even a second, is a meter. I stare at him and then I'll go for him again. So I'm attacking the first one and I'm getting the better of him. He's on the defensive. He's not really got much of a chance to attack me because he's too busy holding his hands up defending. He's not completely on the floor, but he's in a more of a slouch crumpled position, and I'm coming down on top of him now. And it's while I'm fighting the first one, I get a massive whack to the side of my head. And that whack to the side of my head, I didn't see where it came from, but it hurt. And what it did was it took the vision out of my right eye, like instant lights out. That just went black, even before I started bleeding. I stumbled, I looked up with my left eye in time to see a knife coming up at me, and it was just instincts alone, it was just a reaction. I put my hand out and blocked it. And then after that I managed to look up, and then I saw the second one. The second one was shorter than the first one and the third one. Because I remember while I was fighting the second one, I could see over his shoulder, his right shoulder, I could see to the left. The third one's running down the street. The only reason why I figured out that he was the third one is just the way he was moving, the way he was running. It was very direct. I could just see the third one coming. I don't remember exactly what happened in and around then because I've heard different stories and reports from other officers in the time that I was in hospital. But what I remember after that is I'm fighting with the second one here, slightly to my right, and the third one here, slightly to the left. And I've got one eye, I'm batting with my right hand, and I'm moving left to right, left to right. They're still getting slaps and slashes, not as clean, and I'm still swinging at them. Sometimes I'm hitting them, sometimes I'm not. But the second one, he was the one that got the side of it, and he was definitely the one that blinded me, the short one. I think the third one, he was the one that got the cuts on my left hand. And while I'm fighting these two, my left leg starts wobbling. It starts wobbling in a weird way. So I'm fighting these two, I'm thinking, what's wrong with my leg? What's wrong with my leg? I look down and I see a knife moving up and down in the side of my leg. And when I look up, I realise, shit. The first one that I was fighting, I'd got back up and got back into the fight. And I don't know why I didn't see him. Maybe because I was focused on what I had in front of me and I only had the one eye. But he'd come round and just started sticking his knife into my leg, trying to put me down. I'm fighting left to right. The first one's, I see this knife in my leg, and it's kind of weird. I don't exactly feel the pain of what they're doing, I just feel what they're doing, if that makes any sense. I remember swiping down at the hand or the arm or the knife that was in my leg, and he pulls out. I don't think I actually hit him, I think he moves out the way. What I do remember about what he did after that was quite weird, because after he pulls out, he doesn't back away from me straight away. He brings his hand up in an upward arcing motion. It's quite weird. Then afterwards, I've had time to process it. I realised, because I was wearing a short-sleeved uniform T-shirt then, and he was trying to open up my forearms, like my veins. But where I had moved like that, he ended up opening up my fingers instead. And then at that point, I don't even know. All I know is I'm just swinging. I'm swinging all over the place. I couldn't even tell you if I was hitting them or not, to be honest. And I just have one command, one voice in my head saying, "Don't go down. Don't go down." For me, in all honesty, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I'm under no illusions. For me, that voice was God's voice, or my guardian angels. And they gave me one rule, one instruction: don't go down. Because if I had gone down, me and you wouldn't be having this conversation right now. So he kept me on my feet, and I kept swinging away with my hands. And the next clear memory I have after that is get a bit of distance between me and them. And the three of them are now standing on the footpath. And I'm standing in the middle of the road. And I'm staring at them, batting in my right hand, and I'm staring at them with my one eye. And the three of them are almost shoulder to shoulder in a little pack. And they're staring at me. And the short one is on the right-hand side, the one that chopped me in the side of the head. And his eyes are bulging, he's got a drug face, and he's shouting. He's not really shouting, but he's saying, "Allah Akbar, Allah Akbar," a few times. Then the third one, the big one in the jacket, he's in the middle, and the first one, he's on the left-hand side of the pack. And they're staring at me, and I'm staring at them. Anywhere between 10 and 30 seconds is my best guess. And I'm getting ready for round two. You know, we're in this sort of like standoff kind of Western cowboy movie. And I'm getting ready for them to rush me. But I'm not moving anywhere, I'm just staying where I am. And they're staying where they are. And I'm getting ready for them to rush me. But they didn't. They didn't rush me the second time. Don't know why. It was just me and them. I didn't see anybody else at that stage. Then the next clear memory I have is the first one. He runs to the left, and I think he heads into Borough Market. I couldn't see it clearly. All I know is he went that way, and I know that those roads there take him to Borough Market. Then the next time I look, the other two, they've gone. And I hobble onto the pavement, and I'm leaning against the wall. Then I remember I felt like warm water falling on the back of my right hand. So I look at my hand, and then I see it's not water, it's blood. And it's pouring all over my arm, my uniform, the floor. Then my colleague, he comes, and I remember him saying, "You're going to be all right, Wayne, you're going to be all right." I remember he put his hand on my shoulder, like just to hold my right arm. He gets on the radio, and I hear him say, "Officer down." I tell him, "Look, you gotta go. You gotta go get him, you gotta go." And shortly after that, few more officers start showing up. They were in the station that I work out of, but they were on another floor, and they heard it coming out on the radio. I remember certain parts of the calls. I was trying to get out messages: 3 men with knives, more units, ambulances, more. But it's sort of hard to get out clear messages when you're in the middle of, in the thick of it. My colleague went, and these other 2 officers, they eventually got me to sit down onto the floor. I let go of my baton. They undid my high-vis jacket, they undid my body armour. I remember laying flat. And then a 3rd officer came that I know. He doesn't work on my team, but he's worked with us a few times. And he's holding my left hand. They're talking to me, and I remember the 2 either side, they don't know what they're using it, whether it's a t-shirt, a cloth or tissue, but they're basically, both of them either side are just holding my head together. And they're giving me the usual commands: keep your eyes open, keep talking to us. And I did everything they said. I managed to do it for at least 3 to 4 minutes, I'd say. And then after that 3rd, 4th minute, then things got really hard. Felt like I had a big coin or a medallion in the middle of my chest. And every time I breathed out, it got bigger and heavier and harder for me to breathe, make my chest rise again. And like a lot of people have described before, you do, it literally, as they say, that black cloud, that shroud starts to close in. And as far as I was concerned, it was time up. I called to the officer that was holding my hand, because I knew him by name. Called his name, and he lowered his. I saw him turn his radio down, and he leaned in close. I spat blood out my mouth, and then I just started giving him my last messages to my missus, to my parents and family. He says, "No, mate, you're going to do it yourself. You're going to do it yourself." I said, "Listen, just do it. Just do it." And just as I was saying, "Just do it," that was it. Pitch black, and I was gone. The next clear memory I have after that is waking up in hospital.